What's it like for you as a coach and the team dynamic to have the oldest player in college basketball?
Yeah, I mean, it's an unbelievable luxury for us. Spence is such an incredible leader, and most exciting has been the chance to watch him grow. You know, man, I tried to recruit him, and he told me no. So I don't know what that is, 7 years ago, maybe. And it's the best thing about college sports is watching young men grow. And it's not the amount of time that Spence has been here or his age, is what he's done with his time. I mean, this dude's dedicated 2 years of his life to go serve people on his own dime. He is, got his commercial and private real estate license already, and he's fully squarely working towards his career right now, like in the beginnings of his actual career, and he's doing incredible things on the basketball court for us. So he's using his time really, really well. He hasn't wasted a second of it, and he's going to come out of college in a place where very few of us have the opportunity to come out, which is like he's going to be a husband and a father and have a full ongoing career, and it's pretty exciting.
What's the biggest challenge of keeping this team improving every day now that the national spotlight is starting to kind of shift on them?
I think distractions are always just distractions. Winning is distractions, losing is distractions, time is distractions, weather is a distraction. It's all distractions. I do think we have a built-in advantage. We have guys that are pretty centered and grounded, and so I expect us to, keep trying to get better. We know we're barely into the infancy stage of this season, and we know what this season is going to bring, which is we're going to get punched in the face multiple times, and we're approaching this season incredibly humbly. We're going to go through a stretch in the Big 12 where we play every single night as a top 25 team, every single one, right? And so we get the challenge we're facing, and we have some desperation to get better. We got to get a lot better if we're going to be able to compete.
What's the likelihood Foussou is back in non-conference play?
I'm super hopeful, but it just is, with an injury like this, it's kind of like day to day and see how it goes, like see how it feels. We'll spend a lot of time praying, and he'll spend a lot of time trying to heal, and he's a really important part of this team, clearly. And we've got really spoiled functioning with him on the floor. I've got really spoiled for 2 years and a month, and since I haven't had him on the floor. So we're hoping he gets back soon.
Is Khalifa good to go for Friday? I mean, it was kind of probably surprised he was going to give it a go last week, but is he?
Yeah, we rushed him back a little bit. He's just got a strength disparity in his two quads that makes us nervous with this knee, and so we were trying to hold him out as long as we could to give him as much time as he could to continue strengthening that. He's done an unbelievable job getting in shape, and so we're now we don't really have any other alternatives. Like, we have to use him. I think he's excited about it, and it's probably a little quicker than I would have chosen a perfect world. But he also gives us some new dynamics and ways to try and grow, and it comes with some other challenges too. So.
Spence mentioned that some of the guys root him for his age. I'm just curious, like, if there's any appropriate quips that you can share from that some of the younger players give to him.
Well, I think the guys were pretty excited when we didn't know he was the oldest player in college basketball. Tyson, did you make an announcement for us? I can't remember. But it's just, it's a locker room of healthy places where everybody, it's open, for everybody to speak freely and tease each other. And fortunately, Spence has been through everything. Like, he's been through everything. So I think he's embracing this opportunity to really lead a team. I mean, he's the lone super senior on this team, and I think he's worked. He's come a long way since his first training camp here, where he sat out almost the entire training camp and was really struggling to now where he is just the consummate leader on this team. And I don't know. I love it because in college you don't get to see guys for as long as we've got to see Spence, and you don't get to see him grow kind of from beginning to a really, really finished product like he is. And so it's actually a beautiful thing. I wish we had more guys that could do that.
leadership and like development are kind of like two huge words you hear in sports. I'm curious, like with somebody as as mature as Spencer is, and kind of like the ways that you've alluded to that being an asset to this team. What are some of like the smaller in between veteran things that he gives you day to day on the court, off the court that really exemplify that about him?
Yeah, so he does it with his play. First of all, like he's so solid defensively. He's so like on point with his assignments all the time. He's grown. You know, he's the 13th best 3-point shooter in the country last year, but he's grown in his playmaking ability. He's in the top. You know, he's nationally ranked right now in terms of assist rate, and that's been a growing process for him. So he's doing it with his play, but even more importantly, he's just kind of got this veteran feel like, yep, I'm not too stressed about A, B, or C because I've seen it all before, right? You know, you're in the game and we start out poorly and Spence's like, everyone just relax. Like, we've been here before, we've done this before, or things are going really easy and Spence's like, hey, don't get too high. Like, we got a ton of work ahead of us. And that's one of the beautiful things that come with a veteran guy is he just is not kind of being blown in the wind like most of the young guys are, kind of riding the waves of all the public emotion. They kind of understand like what a season it is, and it's full of challenges and victories, and he kind of rides that wave really well.
Mark, what did you learn most about your team at NC State win?
I think I was proud of our guys. You know, it was the second time this season where we kind of were like a little bit stuck in the second half. You know, around the 6 or 8 minute mark against San Diego State, we were kind of like stuck a little bit, and our guys stayed really focused. They didn't get distracted by the game, and I felt like they didn't really get distracted by the game. With North Carolina State, I felt like they were just like next play. Let's go, you know, next play, and we'll kind of figure this out. We were super shaky to start the game, and you know, we kind of gave them an early 10-point lead, 12-point lead, and the guys were like, okay, so yeah, this is not great, but let's move on to the next play, and that is going to be a ridiculously important skill set for us this year. Like this is going to be really hard, and so we got to move on to the next play. And I think we have a group that's in a pretty good spot that's able to do that maybe as well as anybody.
Spencer touched on the disruptiveness of the defense. Obviously, the last 2 games there was some frustration, opposing frustration, some skirmishes there. What is it about your defense that gets under opponent's skin like that?
I think one, it's just competitive, right? This was I think the Arizona State and North Carolina State games probably had different dynamics. I think that, you know, Arizona State was just so frustrated, partly because of us and partly because of them. They just had such a terrible shooting night. They just couldn't buy a basket, and I think that breeds all kind of frustration. And certainly the point spread and all those things are frustrating. And then North Carolina State was a game. Like, it was 2 undefeated teams. And there's something where you're rolling around undefeated 4 or 5 or 6 games in the season where, you know, you just, like, there's a ton of fight, right? There's a ton of fight to keep that kind of perfect mark going, and you know, there was a really nice cadence to the game where it was kind of like a puncher's game, just back and forth, and it's high stakes. You know, it's kind of like these MTEs are kind of the end of the first fifth of the season, right? So your first 20% of the season, and it's kind of like, how are you going to finish it out? And I think that mattered to both teams, and so it was super competitive. I think that we play a really aggressive style of play offensively for sure. I think defensively, we're trying to be really dialed in together and cause some frustration, not just with changing defenses, but being really solid and you know, it's teams fighting it out. It's great.
We're 9 days away from a fairly big game. Is it hard not to glance ahead? How can you keep these guys focused in the meantime with 2 games?
I wish we were good enough to like worry about, you know, Baylor or Kansas State or Kansas, right? But we got Fresno State. It's a really good team, and we're gonna have our hands full, and that's one of the great strengths of this team is I think our guys can stay focused on that it's not hard to look around and see all the stuff that happens in college basketball every day, right? And so we know if we don't come and perform our best and we're not playing on our toes, that the night can get really, really hard. And so we got to go find a way to win Friday. And that's actually a fun way to live. Like, I don't know why anybody would want to live any other way. These games are awesome. And like I said, this deal is going to be massively challenging on Friday, and we got to go find a way to do it.
Is the Tiki back for Friday?
Tiki is back. Yep, he's back.
One more.
In terms of the scout and game prep, you have a couple of additional coaches, Colin and maybe some other staff members. How has that maybe changed the way that you approach game prep?
Yeah, so Coach Fennell is in charge of all of our game prep and assigning it out. So we're kind of double teaming every scout right now. Cahill's taken half of them on his own, and then he's distributed the others. And I think we're doing it better than we have before. I think, I don't know if you guys had a chance to walk in our offices, but we tore down all the walls. And it used to feel super siloed, which was a little bit of an example of kind of how it felt sometimes. And now it's just like there's nowhere you can go where you can't see each other. In fact, Coach Fennell actually changed his office because where he was, like if I looked up from my desk, I was looking straight at him, looking up from his desk. He's like, I can't take the pressure. So, but I think we're doing this really community wide, and we need to. Like, we don't have a ton of room for error. We have a good team, and we have some spaces that are real strengths for us. But we're not an overwhelming group. We can overwhelm people with our group, but we are not overwhelming individuals. And so, we need to do this collectively. Our guys need to do it 5-on-3. Every space in this game where they can be 5-on-3, we need to do it there. And our staff is the same. Like, we got to do this as a community group. So it is helping to have some extra bodies because we have really talented assistant coaches and we have really talented GAs and I like our staff now a lot right now and we need each other. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here.